And I guess I need you to understand that scientists back at that time hated every aspect of this. If you put yourself in their place, you'd probably understand that, because as a scientist, you want the universe to be rationally intelligible, explainable, and essentially Newtonian in nature, which means that if the universe was like a big pocket watch, given all of the gears and springs, et cetera, you could put that pocket watch back together and explain everything about it. That's what Newton believed. That's what these guys wanted. They hated the direction that it was going in. But not only did the experimentation tell them that the direction they're going was correct, the math told them. The second thing that happened is that it took younger physicists, younger scientists, to continue on.
That's right.
Why do you suppose that would be?
They don't have as many preconceived ideas.
Exactly the case. As you get older, you have biases. You know that things are possible and not possible. So you're not even going to look at the not possible. You just know that that's no way I'm going to go that way, because that's stupid. Well, the young dumb scientists are not as biased, preconditioned. So they would go in those directions that the older ones would not. And none of them liked it, no matter how old they were. Schrodinger was fairly young. Heisenberg was fairly young. Schrodinger's, if you can look it up if you want, the wave equation is pretty complex. But it does tell you about wave-particle duality. The math tells you, along with the experimentation. So in 1930-ish, all these scientists got together and discussed the ramifications of quantum physics and published it. And I would imagine that all of them hated it because it turned into almost philosophy. And someone who wants specific answers to things is not a philosopher. It's amazing what these people came up with. So, Schrodinger decided to show how ridiculous quantum physics was, and how the outcomes are ridiculous, was his Schrodinger's cat in a box problem. And those of you who are, oh, you finally made it. I wanted you to start class. Okay, they have a survey to do, and I'll get to this in just a second. So hurry up.
Hi, we're from Miss Wood's statistics class, and what?
Don't interrupt them. They have work to do.
We're from Miss Wood's statistics class, and we're doing a survey. And it's just 9 or 10 questions, and it's pretty easy. It's just all about yourself. So you just want to know the answers.
I'm just going to keep recording this and just tell them just to skip this part. Because it's really not worth it to do 2 videos. Hi, Alex.
Hello. Are you having a fun day?
What?
I remember this.
Absolutely fantastic day.
Actually, a lot of the classes have liked this survey. I don't know why.
Well, it wasn't fun for us because they BS'd it with all this.
I am a male.
See, that's what, that's legitimately what everyone did. We asked about speeding tickets and like how many times have been pulled over, like just simple driving stuff, like what's your favorite car, just they're distracted questions. And they said that they've got pulled over like 100,000 times. I was like, seriously? And a boy would hand it to me and it'd say female. I'm like, really?
I'm actually doing it the right way.
Class, get this done.
Sorry. I think I have this GPA.
Alright, these have better 10 questions. One question only for seniors. You can skip it if you're not a senior. And the one thing you might want to know for this survey is that this is your pointer finger and this is your ring finger. You would not believe how many questions we've had about that. The school has some problems going on again.
We know what finger they point with too much.
What are these 3 questions doing?
That's weird. I was gonna say this one out loud, but I'm not going to.
Oh, are you guys? Are these for like?
You can physically move.
Oh,
You can't look at my. I don't trust you.
do you have something to hide?
Yes. Those 2 questions, guys.
They'll say no.
Oh, I think
Is your ring? Which is my ring finger?
Oh my God.
Anybody want to put this up there?
I shall.
I said it was offensive.
Oh, say it.
Yes, it's very offensive.
Thank you, doll.
I mean, it's no to all of them, but still, like, you don't need to know.
But still.
I'm offended. His mom's not on.
Oh, my head is bopped. Ouch. Hide the stools. We're rowdy today. Rowdy chair. Dang it. Freaking A, Colin.
Other
You
what?
didn't have
The
to.
tied for second biggest religion in the world isn't an option.
Sit down and shut up since you're late.
That's on recording.
Yeah. It's a survey.
College.
No, what was it that for?
It's safety staff.
Okay. Thanks, Sally.
That was a fun. I liked that survey.
Well, we have an hour.
All right. Schrodinger's catch.
Oh, we
Not gonna draw one. No.
No,
Artwork
Colin.
is iffy at best.
What is this?
Like a flat.
Okay, here's the situation. Put a cat in a box. You have a vial of poison. You have a hammer poised to fall on the poison. You have a radioactive substance. When that radioactive substance emits a particle, when it decays, the string will break, the hammer will fall, the vial will be crushed, and the poison released, and the cat will die.
That's sad.
I'm joking.
I love animals.
So,
Terrible.
to kind
It's
of
just like a fairy.
lead us into this, if we have a radioactive substance it has something called a half-life. And if I start off with, say, 50 kilograms of it, in that half-life, and I know uranium has, I don't know, 1,000-year half-life or whatever, but we'll just say it's a year, we'll have 25 kilograms of uranium left. That's what a half-life means. In 1 year, half of that substance will have deteriorated to something else, or will have shot out alpha particles or beta particles and changed itself to something else. And then in another year, we would have 12.5 kilograms. It would be really nice if this transition from this to this was just nice and smooth and it just happened the same over time. But what Heisenberg and what physics is telling us now is that everything happens sort of on a probability scale. Most of the time, what happens is there. The likelihood of an event happening is prominently in the center. So normally, this would be a fairly smooth path to here, and you would lose a gram a day, let's say, or 2 grams a day. And those grams would be changing, those atoms would be changing. However, it's a gamble, it's prediction, it's a probability, and that means that stuff here could happen also. Which means that every atom in this uranium could wait 364.5 days, and then all of it go, and 25 grams of it changes. That's a possibility. It's not likely, it's not probable, but it can. So that's what Schrodinger was talking about, and that's why he put a radioactive substance in here, because you cannot predict this. You cannot say that I know after 30 seconds of time an alpha particle is going to be emitted, the string is going to break, and it's been a minute and a half, cat's dead. I know that. You can't know it. So, the next part of this is, what conclusions can you make about the cat?
It's radioactive.
What's the first one? It can be alive. It can be alive. Second one?
Dead.
Dead. Any others?
Nope.
Be in
A
a bad mood.
superposition of both states.
Be in
Okay.
a bad mood.
Or what?
Good job, Alex. Quantum You
physics.
didn't
Zombie.
ask about both.
Quantum physics tells us the more likely
Don't do it.
of the four
I have to go.
are these two.
Because of the atom, the electron particle, because it was either, yeah.
Quantum physics tells us
Explanation.
that both things are happening. And one of those things does not become a real event until it's measured, or until you open the box and look.
That's so weird.
How do they know that?
What did he just say?
Because
That
that's just,
state of being does not happen until it is observed.
it's not like decided.
So you can call it both. You can say that it's just waiting, or that it's in some sort of state of limbo that's neither alive or dead, some sort of waiting room until somebody slides the box open, and then that becomes a reality.
I just don't know how they know.
That's crazy.
Well, it's just because of the experiment.
Yes.
Like that's what it proved.
How they know if they can't see in the box until they open it.
I don't know what your question is.
No, it's like, how
Because
do they
they
know?
absorb
It's
means
like
reality.
when you don't know if it's alive or dead, but like, how do you know that it like is alive? I don't know.
Don't.
That's why I don't understand your question.
How long did it take scientists to actually get used to this back then?
They're not used to it.
They're not?
No. But the reason that you have cell phones and television sets and any modern devices, the reason you have those is because of quantum physics. Because they can use the probabilities, they can use all of the information and have these things work. So what do we get out of this? Strange. Nothing is real until it's observed. Let's say that's the case. It also, with both, gives us multiple universe easy way around this is saying both. One universe is dead and one universe is alive. The universe splits. That's another conclusion that we make. In fact, there is a theory that every time a decision is made, you got out of bed this morning and came to school, but you thought about staying home and staying in bed. The universe splits. Make another decision. One of you does this, the other of you does this, and this, and this. And every time you do that, the universe splits. So you have just an infinite number of universes because there's an infinite number of decisions being made. I don't happen to like that theory. Because what it does, it takes determinism out, it takes consciousness out, and it takes morality out. Today I decided not to kill you all. Rather be in that other universe. What?
No, does that mean in theory, before there was life to observe anything, nothing was reality?
Yep.
There was no reality?
Right. The other outcome, I don't like that universe theory.
Me either.
The other outcome well, wait, maybe I'll explain my universe theory first. I know. I have to share weird stuff with you, don't I? I do happen to think there are multiple universes, and I do happen to think we are creating them. And I do happen to think that nothing is real until you observe or measure it in some manner. So, That's my universe.
Yay.
It's bigger than yours. It's aged well.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's old.
And nothing enters my universe until I, in some manner, sense it, or measure it, or observe it. So and the example I give is when I go to a new place that I've never been before. Every one of you have seen movies filmed in New York City. You've seen, unless you've been there, you've just seen it on television. And you know it's real, but it's not part of your universe until you yourself measure it. And the reason is that you cannot get that same feeling by seeing something two-dimensionally that you do when you're standing there. When you first walk down a street of New York, and those big, ominous buildings are standing up beside you, and the horns are honking out in the street, and the smells and stuff that you get, until that happens, that's just a concept. And it's not part of your universe. You all have a concept of a place that you haven't been. When you go to that place, do you suppose that reality of being there is going to exactly match your concept? It's not going to. So as you go through and experience things, those things now become a reality. Now, for most of you, some of you probably this won't happen to, you'll get married. Some of you I can't imagine.
Is that wedding rings?
Oh, that's my wife's universe. Duh. Now notice that we're just not totally intertwined, because she's creating her own, and she works down at Deaconess, and she works with a different group of people, and she gets to know a different group of people, and has her own sensory perceptions of things.
And you have us.
She's not fortunate enough to have you. And then when we have a child, right at first, it's there, but very, very quickly, it's there. So you have experiences of both mom and dad, and with mom and with dad, and your own. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you with me? There. There.
That's the
And as you, we spent a year together. A little piece of you goes with me, but the best part is a little piece of me.
Man, I don't want to be there.
And 15 or 20 years from now, something's going to happen, some physics thing, and you go, damn, McGuire. And I'm pretty sure I'll be used in that manner, mostly. And I'm pretty good at remembering faces. I'm not very good at remembering names. Last night I met a former student that I coached in pole vault, and he was in my physics class. Second year I started teaching. And I didn't remember his name. I actually knew what his name was because his daughter is now on track. But I hadn't seen him since he graduated. It would have taken me a while, but after he introduced himself, I recognized the face. The thing is, he got old. I didn't. He got old. So eventually you go off and you start creating more and more of your universe. So I kind of like that. I can sort of live with that.
Do you just make this one all your own, or did you?
No, this is me. This is my own. Okay. Here's my problem with it, with observer-created reality. It's not really a problem. It's one that quantum physicists talk about also. If I have you very, very precisely describe this room, each one of you, this cluttered room, would your description of it exactly match everyone else's? Our perception is going to be different. I guarantee you my perception of it is different than yours. Because I caused most of this mess. My perception of it is going to be different than yours because my visual perception is way different than yours. Because I'm colorblind and you're not. The problem is, all of us see the posters on the wall, all of us see these cupboards, the floor, the desks. The similarities are going to be very much the same. If I am truly and really creating my own universe and creating my own reality, do you really, really, really think that this is what the outcome would have been? This?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. I would be at least 6'6". And I'm pretty sure it would be more Superman-ish, more cartoonish, more Bugs Bunny-ish. I would love to carry around a hole that I could throw in the wall and walk through.
Awesome.
I know. Or have a black pen and draw a cave opening and walk into it.
You drop anvils on people?
Anvils.
Like supernatural.
But we are constrained. For some reason, there is a structure that we are constrained by. I'm creating my universe, but I can't make it, or don't seem to be able to make it, where I'm Superman. There's something wrong with that. So in other words, we're constrained. There must be something else providing those constraints, and you can call it whatever you want, which scientists, surprisingly, there's a chapter in this book on it, and it's called The Ultimate Observer. In other words, something is providing the basic structure of what we are creating in. And something is providing our basic structure of which we are made. And if we are indeed a reality, then something must be observing us. It's sort of a weird spiral thought process.
But in theory, doesn't that mean there has to be something observing the ultimate observer?
Exactly. That's what, it just keeps going in a circle. The ultimate observer can be whatever you want it to be. It can be the physical laws of the universe. It can be God if you want it to be. It can be lots of various different things. In both of these books, in the Tao of Physics and in this, they talk about the ultimate observer theologically. In other words, science proving God, which is a real interesting topic since science and religion always seem to be at odds with one another. So that's kind of a another place to go. If we are indeed creating our own realities, how do we take charge of that creation of our own realities? Should we? I think we have to.
But if there's an ultimate observer, like you say, and you're creating your own reality, and he's creating all of reality.
I think in my interpretation of it, it's the basic structure, not predestination, because I think predestination is a horrible way. I might as well just go sit at home. Everything's predestined to be done. If I don't have any freedom of thought and freedom of choice and freedom of whatever, then I don't like this universe. So I can't accept it.
But if the choice is in
predestined,
predestined.
right? It just means that I don't like
I
it.
don't want to think about that.
So, are you saying that this ultimate observer, like you're free to choose the reality you go to, but the ultimate observer restricts
Within constraints.
Yeah.
Within the basic physical laws of the universe. That I cannot right now, I can't go from this speed that I'm going faster than the speed of light. I'm constrained by that, even though I would like to. Okay, so that's kind of what it's, the physical laws are constraining our universes that we create.
Now, wouldn't that in turn mean that you creating your own reality is only actually constraint? Is you putting
I put constraints on myself, yes.
and putting constraints on your
I
reality?
don't think there's
just
any
like-
choice in that, but I think you do have a choice of also expanding. And that's where a lot of physical things come into being. I was going to answer a question from yesterday, and I think we can get to it today. In one of Frank Herbert's books, the second book of Dune, the hero of the book has been blinded, but he has prescience where he can see into the future. Well, he ends up being able to see into the immediate future, so therefore he can see. Think about that. He describes choosing possible futures that he can go along as spider webs. You choose a thread of your future, and a bunch of other threads fall away because you have not chosen that possibility, but that opens a whole bunch of more threads to go on. You go in another direction, those threads fall away. So as you're creating your universe, you're making a decision to go this direction. That means you have gotten rid of these, etc., etc. This is another me theory. This has nothing to do with psychology. It has nothing to do with any sort of scientific reality, although I think psychology pretends to be a science. It's a personal opinion. That sometimes when you dream, you are following along some of those threads of possibility of your future. Not always, but sometimes. So you are following along, and then there are occasions when you actually choose that path. And when those two meet at some point in time, you get that deja vu feeling. That you have been there, you have done this, you have created this. It's all been here before. The reason you don't see it coming is you don't get the context of getting there. That's why you get this strange feeling. And why didn't you remember that? And I remembered, after I've gone through this stuff, I remember thinking and after I had a sort of a vivid dream that I really wanted to write it down so that when it happened someday, I'd remember it. Never got to that point where I actually did it. But I'm fairly certain that something like that is really going on. That we are actually subconsciously visiting possible futures of our universe that we are creating, and sometimes it matches up with reality. So that's that deja vu thing you asked me. I have lots of theories on everything, and they probably are way wrong, but they feel right sometimes. All right, I am going to stop there for today. Go ahead and take a couple of minutes and write some of your thoughts down. Again, it helps you write your paper.